Right folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the beautiful landscape of Scotland. And today we're up near Glenila, up at kind of Glenmarkey I think it's called, and we're documenting some abandoned history hidden on the wild hill here. In the last video it was like a wee croft or remains of some old buildings, and in this video we're punching further along to once again find more history undocumented on YouTube and history basically hidden in remote lands. So yeah, let's get into action. We're joined by Highlander 87 today, and look, there's that white house up ahead which I think is Glenmarkey Lodge. I'm thinking on the left hand side further along here we should actually find the history we are looking for. We could even go probably along behind the wall if we needed to. We don't even know if there's cows or bulls in this field. We're just kind of going, just taking each step as it comes, staying safe. Yeah, look, there's old stones here in the field as well in front of us. There could be all kinds of history hidden in these lands, folks. It's almost like hardly explored, especially by YouTubers or people making videos. And I love finding the history that's like almost forgotten. And recently we've had some cool videos in the nearby area with like a lime kiln that we found in the forest, and then the wee croft kind of buildings from the last video. And then me and Highlander's got a wee walk here until we get to the next crazy little abandoned building. So let's see what they look like. Check this out folks, there is actually cows over here at the right hand side, and you can actually see the first remains of history with this stone wall line leading down to where the cows are. And then look, there's been an area levelled where they're standing with a pile. Look at the sheep as well. I think we should be okay as long as we just keep on punching round here. We'll just stay at the top of the hill. This is mad folks, we're often just like raiding the land, raiding the animals, but if the cows come up here we'll just jump this fence. And then I think there's an old track at the other side of that dike. Could be grassy, but we'll just see how it is. At least when there's sheep in here it means that there shouldn't be any ticks. So check it out folks, we've just passed this incredible dry stone dike here, and this is actually the first of the history here. There should be like wee buildings and things on the left hand side. Oh, there is a proper constructed stone building. Look at all these buildings. Wow, see those central constructions there? That is incredible folks. This is some mad history right here folks, and I love bringing you out on the channel. Look at that, it's been a proper building. I think this has been like a real deal farm croft, and I think that must be the house in the middle. Well, we'll go to the middle first and then see if we can access, because that's so overgrown. Let's go and have a look at the house. All this at a certain time has been moved or shifted, landscaped. Piles of stones like this at one time taken off the fields to create grazing lands, which even to this day are still used. Oh, I love adventures like this folks. Seeing historical wonders like this, it's hardly seen, not even near a main road. Pretty much this is the nearest thing to a main road. At one time there would have been a track leading in off the hill, roughly the direction we came. Yeah, this is cool, there's quite a lot of it left. Yes, check it out folks, we've made it to the front door of this old property, and look how cool it is. It's like time travelling on this channel and stepping back. It's into like a post-apocalyptic world of how houses from, just imagine the world had been abandoned back then. It almost is like that with these houses. We're stepping back in time with each adventure. Look how there's been a little window here, and then this proper building. Wow folks, I love adventures like this. Wow, look, yeah, there's been a wee window at the far corner as well. I think so, maybe a door taking you out into the farmyard. Wow, look at this, the way the walls are leaning. That's why coming here and documenting this sort of thing is so special on the channel. Each year it falls down more and more, and it is pretty much exploring season now folks. We go that extra mile just to basically see stuff like this where there's no roads and hardly any people are even walking past here. What is that over there? Oh aye, Highlander's saying the conditions look better over there. Look at this old stone that's been used for the bottom of the window. And look at this actually, it's like there's been a wee walkway or maybe a wall along where they've raised the foundation to make a level foundation above the field height. This is so cool, folks. Yeah, look at the shape of the walls. There's even more buildings leading up here. I think that's been like another house-like structure there, or a big shed. Wow, folks, let's push on round. Yeah, look, this has actually been like a wee side building, or a side room with a door there. Wow, what a scene of Scotland. That's the back. I don't think there's been a door coming this way, but I think, like Highlander said, at the far side there's been a door so the person could get out here. And then I think over this direction here's been another like building. Look at that, the wall, the way it steps in, and then this whole area here has been a building. Imagine more windows looking out this way, and then doors. Maybe even this could have been the farmhouse, because that looks more like potentially the sheds. This looks about the size and the shape of what you would think is the farmhouse. And I'm not seeing like a chimney or nothing, but it could have been anywhere.
Look at that back wall.
Yeah, do you think that's been where it is? Wow, folks, what a scene of Scotland once again. Look how close these walls are to falling down. The dressed stone is just sitting. Some of it you can't even tell from this side, it looks rough, but look how it's just balancing. And then I think, there's been a fire here. Maybe the main... There's maybe been a cooking range or something, so it's just all tumbled. Wow, what a scene. And then overlooking to, I think it's Glenmarkey Lodge in the distance. It's just epic, folks. I love history like this. Just think how long ago these stones were laid here. And just think when it was just completed and it was all brand new. Somebody earning their living or settled here maybe for generations and years. And then one day it just falls silent. And I love the character of those old stone buildings, just in the middle of such a desolate, grassy environment. Standing at the edge of this forest, which is kind of just newly planted, I think, after forestry operations. Some of the stones they've used at this place is massive, like these ones. But then on the inside you can tell how fragile and how it's almost fallen down. And that's why it's cool with these videos, to keep on pushing beyond the areas we've been and seeing new things like this. Sometimes in the summer we're restricted and we can't get on cool adventures lists, so now it's just amazing. We're just pushing on. Look at this, there's even more wall lines and boundary walls at this side. It's so interesting. Yeah, I can see the square shape of that. Let's go along this way, folks, and have a look. I think there's been a track at one time maybe led round the back of here, but I could be wrong. It's an interesting theory of the history. I was just taking a look at that, 'cause you would think you'd be coming along on your horse and then going into the farm. Wow. Also at that time, when the farm was in its prime and first constructed, you have to imagine it maybe wasn't so much forest and stuff right behind it, or maybe it was even more forest for all we know. That's the crazy thing with Scotland, it's changed so much over the history, and there has been so much history in each area. It's super cool. Look at this, folks, we've got a wee pond or dam, but also there's a wee shed. Wonder if it was some sort of generator shed or what for the big lodge. See, I think there's maybe like another wall line just along here, at the end, or maybe that was the last one. Because I think, is it no like a house or whatever and sheds in the middle, and then there's like this enclosure with like a little stone building in each enclosure, a bit like what we saw at the other end of the site. It appears to be like a wee rectangular shed of some sort. Yeah, we'll go and take a look at this corner here. Document the whole site, folks. First time on YouTube most likely for a place like this. And it is just amazing. I can see there's a group of folk that walk down the other side of the glen. They're stopped down there, maybe scouts or whatever, I'm not even sure. Shout out if you're watching this video. We're literally over at the opposite side of the glen here, where there is no track, no road. Look at that old gate there, the big stone. It's almost like a standing stone. And then you can see how the outer perimeter wall here has been built up to this other wall. and then that would have been their main farm complex. Most of their goings on was probably within these walls that we could see. We'll just take a wee look over the brow of this hill to make sure we're not missing anything incredible. So check it out, folks, we're passing by this old historical wonder once again, and it's amazing to see. I don't know, I think that's been a farm building there, or a shed, rather than, I think the house has been over there at that other building, but it is hard to tell, and we are just kind of judging it on for what we can see today. There is other areas on this hill in front of the buildings that seem to be landscaped. I'm not sure if there's been other like wooden sheds or some sort of construction, maybe even storage areas and things back in the day. But yeah, I'm wanting to go the other side of this compound at the top. There's a little building, so I'm thinking I'll step over and document that before we leave the side of this place. Look how the house, or the main building construction, is so different to the dry stone construction of the perimeter wall. Originally there would have been limestone mortar in that house or building there, whereas the dry stone wall would have always looked pretty similar to that. Yeah, I think a place like this would have had a more localised lime kiln, maybe even somewhere around here. Sometimes when a lot of that forestry work got done, though, they destroyed or levelled some areas that may have had some historical tale to tell. I do apologise for wind in today's video as well, folks. We're basically on the tail end of that storm Amy that swept over this weekend, and it is incredible we've managed to document so much this week considering the conditions like yesterday. Yeah, there's areas here, it's like mounds or level bits, other piles could be stones. Look, this is an easy bit to step over. So check this out, folks. This is what a 1700s farmyard looks like after many years. And look, I'm wanting to just punch on. I'm going through this mad long grass, which is terrible considering the sheep can't graze this bit. There's a high chance of ticks in this area. Yes, look at this, I've made it. This has been another proper building. You can see the fine finished walls, and there would have been a roof on here, and it's another part of this farm story that we're telling today. And it is incredible. Look at this view from up here. That's the main farmhouse or whatever in the middle over there. But yeah, I just wanted to come over and record this before we clear out of the site. I can't actually see where the original door... Oh, I nearly went in a hole. My foot went down a hole. I can't see where the original door was in here, not unless it's been here. Oh look, when I turned around, check that out, folks. There's been an entrance going that way, and that just shows you that's long before that there had been a forest. There's been so much going on in this land. You can see how they've dug the land away from the wall as well. When they built it, they would have made a level foundation, and this would have probably been like an animal shed or whatever. Wow, this is so cool, folks. Look at this. We're at the back wall of the house or building now. I keep calling this one a house, but I think this one's always been a shed. But look at the fine finished stone compared to, once again, the dry stone. I love seeing that. It shows you the difference. That's how you know you're looking at a proper building that would have had a roof. It would have been a complete structure compared to these dry stone walls. Anyway, let's punch on out of here, folks. I need to check myself for ticks. I just love areas like this. Think how long ago all this was built. Mad. So there we go, folks. Another historical wonder, an ancient croft, documented for the first time on the channel. And I just love it, coming on these wee adventures. Today we've been kind of dodging the livestock. We obviously come with respect to the landowner and the farmers on these adventures, and we'll always explore respectfully. Obviously if there was bulls and stuff coming up chasing us and stuff, we would step off the property and go the opposite way, but they're all just chilling, grazing. Same with the sheep. Oh aye, there's been a little gate. Do you think at one time they just went through the wee gap? Kind of when they were on foot, they would just step through like this? Maybe. And then there might have been a wall that side. It's hard to know. It is hard to know, but it's cool to see the sort of stones that they've used back in the day. These stones, when they build these walls, folks, it's generational. When you put in some wooden posts and stuff with wire, you need to replace it every few years. The posts rot, the posts fall over. if you spend that initial bit of time building a dry stone dyke, it's forever. Especially if you actually maintain it. These ones are standing like this, unmaintained, so that shows you.
Yeah, they're still standing.
Yeah, it's back in the day they spent more time on stuff like that, thinking we want to make it so that it lasts for years. Nowadays people just make things because it's quick and easy or cheap, and it is sad that the world has become like that. But I love the stone construction of those old houses and the way they were out in such wild lands. Sometimes the people that built these crofts in these lands were the ones that drained the wild boglands, sometimes overgrown with scrub and forests. So they would have cut themselves a wee hole and cleared it, cleared the scrub, and then built that. And then years passed after that and it becomes abandoned and forgotten. And today we've documented how it looks. But what a madness, now we need to navigate back off this hill. Check it out, folks, there's some fine Scottish beasts. They're just chilled out. They probably didn't get a lot of folk walking through here apart from like the farmer and that. They're maybe thinking they're going to get fed. But I don't mind when the cows are like that and they're chilled out, they're quite happy staying over there. I don't like it when they start coming over and sometimes they're curious to see what you're doing. But yeah, I've just loved today's adventure. We've documented this week on the videos, or in the past few videos anyway, so much of this glen and little forgotten wonders, and it's amazing over the years just piecing together little bits of history, and kind of eventually you realise how things were in these lands. So many individual crofts and communities just gone and forgotten. Anyway, what a madness. I'm going to end it here. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye from me. Goodbye from Highlander 87, and we'll catch you soon for the next one, wherever we end up going.